Hello, my name is Trinka Bourne, and this presentation is a case study on executive women, public administrators, and leadership development. It is a dissertation written by Cynthia Warthern in 2005. The background of topic dates back to 1861, where the U.S. Department of the Treasury hired women to clip and count paper currency. This was due to men being called off to war as they were needed as soldiers. More focus has typically measured career development, advancement, and leadership skills against men. Traditional models of leadership tend to represent an orientation derived from positions mostly Caucasian, male, and upper middle class. Research of women as public administrators has received very limited attention. The purpose of the study was to describe current profile of executive women public administrators in California, was to determine the existing barriers for executive women in the field of public administration, as well as identify leadership behaviors contributing to their success and determining those personal and professional relationships and experiences supporting or hindering leadership development. The secondary problem statement was public sector organizations are not representative of society regarding gender. That is why the study focuses on women public administrators because of the importance of the government as a role model for society. The author's limitations was the data represented executive women public administrators solely enrolled in the University of La Verne's public administration program. The executive women public administrators in this study held advanced degrees and are in executive leadership positions. They're employed in public sector organizations solely within Southern California and may not be generalizable to other populations. The author's delimitations were it was only limited to 150 women public administrators, and as I said before, solely within that University of La Verne, so a small populated group. The study sample and population respondents were executive women employed in public sector organizations within Southern California. Some of the research questions, to cover a few. What are personal characteristics of executive women public administrators? What barriers to achievement did executive women in the field of public administration identify? What factors within the field of public administration did executive women identify as having contributed to leadership development? The hypotheses are women public administrators involved in the study would complete and return the survey questionnaire. Women public administrators would provide accurate and clear information in response to the survey questionnaire. And women public administrators are representative of all executive women, and their responses would provide insight into leadership development for other women public administrators. The population, as said before, was solely 152 public administrators enrolled in the University of La Verne's public administration. They represented the employed public sector organizations within Southern California at local, city, county, state, and federal levels. Southern California was chosen due to the diversity and variety of public sector organizations. The literature review was very, very extensive, and it covered from legislation dating back to 1920, representative bureaucracy, which I'll speak further, give more details on further in this presentation. Theorist review, looking at more current theorists and really their take on women, gender, and culture in relation to women's socialization and leadership development. Interesting that the research examined the extent to which women and racial and ethnic minorities are employed in the public sector dating back to the early 1960s. It also looked at the study of public administration and how it's advanced to an extraordinary degree since Woodrow Wilson's 1886 essay, The Study of Administration. The methodology was based on a survey being used from a qualitative and descriptive in nature approach. It was sent out to public administrators enrolled in the University of La Verne's public administration program from March 2004 to May 2004. The purpose was the descriptive research is to systematically describe the facts and characteristics of a given population factually and accurately. The survey was used to collect data to answer the research questions, and descriptive statistics and tables were used for each question. As a result, the researcher identified two factors that were incongruent with the literature review. One being women public administrators, contrast to the literature, did not perceive family responsibility commitments as a factor either positively or negatively in their leadership development. Secondly, factors in the field of public administration contributing to leadership were perceived as inherent personal characteristics and not factors specific to the field of public administration. The average executive woman public administrator was between the ages of 40 and 49, married with one child. She had held her leadership position for less than 10 years, and all the women public administrators held bachelor's degrees, with the majority holding doctorate degrees. The view of themselves was measured in context with their role not only as professional women, but also as mother and wife, being very important to them. Recommendations would be to expand the study to other universities throughout California and even throughout other states potentially. Focus being given to the leadership characteristics and develop the body of knowledge on women public administrators across agencies and job classifications. And then to further develop a systemic model of leadership development for women public administrators. Suggested further research: replicate the study, identifying racial and ethnic backgrounds, and identify how leadership development might differ among the groups. Conduct a study across specific job classifications and agencies to identify barriers to leadership development. Explore the marital and family relationships of women public administrators. Conduct a longitudinal study involving women in the public sector from early career through retirement, even though that would be a very extensive, long, detailed study. And then, or conduct a study to investigate why women choose public administration as a career. Understanding representative bureaucracy, just touching on a few. All social groups should occupy bureaucratic positions in direct proportion to their number in the general population. Since the mid-20th century, women have been substantial components of the representative bureaucracy. In the 1980s, both trustee and symbolic theories supported a gender representative bureaucracy, an increase in number in women in leadership. Pillars of public administrations. The study touched on equity and fairness, accountability, and legitimacy. Integrated required reading, to touch on a few. Hill and Branch assume gender affects one life experiences, that women and men have different views of the world based upon their role in it and how it affects them. Proceed to assess whether or not gendered life experiences translate to gendered attitudes about representative bureaucracy and workforce reforms. To the extent the public sector is not fully open to one or more groups, it can decrease the ability of individual members of those groups to compete economically with others and has a depressing effect on the group's overall economic standing. Further integrated required reading. Until recently, it has been a man's world where women and associated gender styles were physically and psychologically marginalized or excluded from the male-dominated reality. However, the new flat network forms of organizations that are merging to cope with the uncertainty and turbulence of modern environments require managerial competencies that have more in common with the female archetype than the male. From faith integration, be honest in your estimate of yourselves, measuring your value by how much faith God has given you. Just our bodies have many parts, and each part has a special function. So it is with Christ's body. We are all parts of his one body, and each of us has different work to do. And since we are all one body in Christ, we belong to each other, and each of us needs all the others. This concludes my presentation. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to your feedback and further discussion on this topic. Take care. God bless.